Wednesday, November 19th, 2014. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights tonight. Bee and Puppycat, the actual series.
Let's do this.
So the other day, I tweeted saying that I had the internet encapsulated in a video, and it was possibly internet overdose. And I tweeted it out, and the expected responses came back. A lot of my friends OD'd on that video. So I'm not going to make it a thing of the day because it's way too internet. Like, if you've ever complained about me making a thing of the day that's just like way internet, like Mouse Fan Club, for example, this goes way beyond that. Okay. So I'm going to link to it in the forum, but it's not going to be part of the actual episode or an official thing of the day because seriously, this shit's so internet, like, I cannot express to you how internet it is. Bonus points for one, in the bathroom so his mom doesn't overhear.
Why have we forwarded all the way to Thing of the Day?
This isn't a thing of the day.
What?
This is just my day. This is the opening bit. We just talk about stuff. It's not my actual thing of the day because it's too internet. If I link to that as the thing of the day, it might break Geeknights. What? You can't talk about biking. It's too cold to bike.
It's too cold to do anything.
It's not that cold.
It's too cold to podcast.
You forget yourself, young man. You forget what it's like to live in Rochester. It is not cold.
It's cold. You go to Buffalo, see what happens.
It's not that cold in Buffalo right now either. It just snowed. Actually, so funnily enough, I was at work, right? I got 3 emails today from coworkers or people I know who just live in not America. And all 3 of them asked me if I was okay and if I was trapped by the snow.
Why don't people understand that New York City and New York State are 2 different things?
So, yeah, we're further away from Buffalo than like
I understand that
Detroit
Quebec
or Cedar
and Quebec
Point
City
is from Buffalo.
I know that Quebec and Quebec City are different things, and I don't live in
all right,
Canada.
Ask the average person anywhere in the U.S. or anywhere in the world what the capital of Canada is.
All of Canada?
Do you know the capital of Canada?
I know the capitals of various provinces.
You don't know the capital of Canada?
Of all of Canada?
Yes, the federal capital.
I guess I never even thought that it had one. I just only thought about provinces.
What?
I never even considered such a thing.
Okay.
It's not Toronto.
I'm glad you know that.
It's not Quebec.
I'm almost more disturbed. If you had just said it's not Toronto, I would have assumed you knew and let it go. But the fact that you admitted that you didn't know Canada had a cat, I
didn't even consider that it would have one.
So, yeah, anyway, guys, Buffalo is so far away from New York City that it is effectively a different state, and it's arguably Canada. It's like a shabbier version of Canada. So, also, Scott, it's only 31 degrees. It's not that cold.
With the wind, it's wad cold.
Wind chill is bullshit unless you're naked. Are you naked outside? Oh, Scott, all right, fine. Wind chill? You're going to say wind chill's the problem? The wind chill only makes it 26.
I also don't have hair.
So that tiny amount of lost hair turned you from a man capable of walking outside in Rochester.
Listen, I'm still capable. It's just not desirable.
I don't know if you are. I think if we went to Rochester right now, you might just die.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, death. It's not cold out, and you're a baby now. So anyway, it's Wednesday, animation and all that. You got news, and Scott, it's only 23 in Rochester.
So there's a list that, Anime News Network for a long time. I might have just been, in the dark. I probably was just in the dark. Has, put up lists of, animation DVD rankings.
I used to look every time I go to Anime News Network thinking, I need some news for, a Wednesday show. I see those lists, I click on them, and then I realize I have literally nothing to say about the DVD rankings, and then I don't talk about it.
Right, but I don't know if they've been doing this for a while, but they did TV rankings, which I never saw them do before, which is really kind of interesting, at least to me.
So wait, this is Japanese TV rankings.
Right, so this is the animations that are most watched on Japanese television. And it's like, oh.
All right. As of when? As of
November 3rd through 9th. It's like last week.
See, it's always tricky with lists like that because the things that an uninformed person or an American anime fan might think are popular are, 1, not on Japanese TV right now, and 2, often not what's popular in Japan. Did Naruto end yet?
I assume it did.
All right. So if I had to guess, number one, I'm gonna go safe. It's got to be like Sazae-san or one of those.
It is
things like
Sazae-san.
what's number two? Like Doraemon.
So is Doraemon.
Oh, all right. Number three. I can't think of any more shows like that. One Piece. Naruto?
One Piece is farther down.
Okay.
Naruto's not on the list.
Wait. Okay. What about it's got to still be on TV. That show where the guy eats exotic animal. Toriko.
I don't know what that is, and it's not on the list.
Okay, one, you've never seen Toriko? That shit's delicious
Okay.
and terrible. Okay, I guess it's not on the list. All right, so Sazae-san, Doraemon.
Well, it's Chibi Maruko-chan is
Eh.
the next one.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, this is really interesting to see that, like, all these animes that are the ones that people in America watch, like, say, Yoa Pedal and all, basically no one in Japan is watching those things, at least not on TV. It's like a nerd-only deal.
Well, I mean, look at old anime. Ask an average person in Japan, just like some kid, like, hey, what's Cowboy Bebop? They might not know. Like, not everyone cares about that show. Wasn't, like, super remembered by everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody knows what Fist of the North Star is.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. Of course, then again, even in the U.S., like, ask the average kid what Star Wars is, and a lot of them have not actually seen any Star Wars, but I digress.
That is sad indeed.
Yeah. So I've actually, for whatever reason, it's been animation season for me. Like, I've been playing, you've been doing your thing, but I've been mostly watching cartoons and playing like PC games lately.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm going to geek bite all the cartoons I'm watching right now because Scott's not watching any of them.
And of course not.
So, of course, it's a little skewed because this is like the off season. It's like B Team because there's no new My Little Pony. There's no new Venture Brothers. The Adventure Time just like stopped and we're waiting for it to start again. So there's no Archers. All my standbys aren't going. So I'm watching like my B tier shows. So there's that My Little Pony like Gajinka show, like the Rainbow Rocks, Equestria Girl, all that stuff.
Well, you watching it?
No. So the first movie that they released, I watched because I had to, be able to say it was shit. You got to try something before you can say it's shit. And I tried it, and it was pretty shit.
Okay.
So they made a sequel, and apparently they hadn't originally planned on making a sequel. And as far as I can tell, they're turning that into a like full-on continuing thing. It looks like they're taking all the stuff they would do with Gem if Gem was re-released, and just making that like a sub-brand with all the same proper nouns as My Little Pony, but way lower production values. What's interesting is that because they're kind of going in this Gem direction, I watched a few bits from it, and it's awful. Like, it's awful. Like, you get this unwatchable baby stuff. But it's actually popular among the demographic that the new My Little Pony Friendship is Magic was actually originally targeted at. This shit is way popular among young girls.
Okay.
And you know what? It's a perfectly fine little girl show. Like, nothing wrong with that. But seriously, if you're a fan of, like, actual My Little Pony and you watch this stuff is really bad, and you shouldn't be watching it. But the really interesting thing is that they have quadrupled down on the music, and they seem to have made this franchise completely about the music and about music. There are 12 songs in this short movie.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's
more
as
than
many,
like any Disney movie.
That's as many songs as
What
were
is
in,
Rainbow Rocks, right?
Yeah, but the previous one also had a lot of music. This one like quadrupled down on it. Music. And it's interesting because it's the same guy, Daniel Ingram, doing this music.
Mm-hmm.
The music for this is way more generic and like lame poppy. Like way more generic. But the production values of the music in this one are way higher than from the previous one. So I guess, that among the like wider fandom of this stuff, there are going to be people who are fans of Friendship is Magic and who independently are fans of the music from this, but will never actually watch this, or if they do, they won't admit to watching it. But seriously, shit's way unwatchable. It's got, I don't know, don't watch it.
I won't.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on it. I still didn't watch that Equestria Girls movie either.
Yeah, I watched that one. You know what? Not great. Not great at all. However, one of the songs from the new one, I'm actually making an Utena anime music video to.
All right, you
Yeah,
do that.
I'm doing that. That I have in all my life as an anime fan. I've never actually made an anime music video. And I feel like it's time. Like, that bell never rings.
Clock
that
never
clock never rings.
I never. I mean, we keep saying that, but it's like, you ever seen a clock that rings? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like grandfather clocks, cuckoo clocks. That's what they do.
Alrighty.
Clocks used to make noises. You know when it's like noon 15 and the clock's like doo 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 doo.
Sure.
You've never encountered a real old clock?
I
know
have.
that sound like doo 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 doo.
But that clock never rings, so.
That clock used to ring and then it stopped. So I've also been watching Steven Universe. That show, if you've been avoiding it or ignoring it or not like paying attention to it, is way good. Like, way good. It on one hand does the sort of like deconstruction of magical girls, like very heavily Sailor Moon inspired. But also comedy show. Like the premise is that there's magical girls, the gems, Sailor Moon magic, but they live openly as magical girls. Like everyone's like, that's the magical girls, they live in that house. And they protect the planet from all the bullshit. One of them basically dies giving birth to her son, and he inherits her gem. So it's a bunch of magical girls from space and this kid named Steven who's like 12 years old who also has one of the gems, and it is technically a magical girl. And it's actually like, it's way funny. Like, way funny.
Yeah, I knew. I saw some episodes of it early.
Yeah, so you know what? Early episodes, it's gotten better. You know, like Adventure Time, like it was really good, but then it like the goodness got better at an accelerating rate after a certain point. Steven Universe did that too. Like it got like the episodes started getting like exponentially funnier, and then much like Adventure Time, plot happened. So it's got serious, dramatic, like for real stuff, and it kind of does. It doesn't do the full Big O, but it does a little bit of Big O because stuff happens in all the early episodes that's just kind of funny and, magical girl monster of the week. But then the show kind of goes in this direction of, so look back at all those monsters of the week. Yeah, you feel really bad about that now, don't you? Huh.
How many times has that happened? About a zillion.
Yeah, but you know what? That's often the sign of good media. Steven Universe is super worth watching if you haven't watched it yet. And I
got so many other things to watch. It's not high on the list. Even not saying it's not good.
What are you watching other than Yoa Pedal?
Not much because I don't have time to watch anything.
So I'm also watching The Amazing World of Gumball.
All right.
And I've talked about The Amazing World of Gumball before on the show, but suffice it to say, it did everything that Steven Universe did in terms of, with every season, it's getting funnier and fun, like to the point that it is one of my favorite comedy cartoons.
I mean, I guess there's a new Mushishi anime. I would watch that if I was going to watch anything else that I wasn't already watching.
I would watch that, except I'm currently watching 2 Sailor Moons at the same time.
Yeah, I haven't watched the Sailor Moon since like a long time ago.
Oh, I can tell you why that is. Because Sailor Moon's at R now. And you know what? R is just filler before S. R is like watching...
Like, I'm still back in the one where Sailor Moon's non-sailor friend and was getting with the bad guy. That I'm still in that area.
Wow, you don't even remember any of their names, do you?
Something Fright.
What? No. Oh, what's the girl's name?
Red hair girl.
What's Sailor Moon's name?
Usagi.
All right. What's Sailor Mercury's name? Yeah,
Temple Girl.
Yeah, no, you already mixed them up. That's Sailor Mars.
Oh,
Mercury's the blue one with her bubble mist.
Yeah, bubble mist.
There's this great moment in a recent episode of Crystal. Well, not a recent, but an episode of Crystal where Sailor Moon's like, I can't do shit. All the other Sailor Scouts got awesome powers like fire, lightning,
and the cat's like, this is what your other power is you never use.
Yeah, she's like fire, lightning, and mist. If I were in charge of that show, the person she was talking to would have been like, yeah, 2 of those are cool. 2 of those are useful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Gumball also, while it is primarily really fucked up and kind of dark comedy, like, I'm actually really surprised at how dark this show is, considering that it's like on Cartoon Network and is actually aimed at little kids. It's like Malcolm.
Adventure Time is on Cartoon Network.
The humor in the Adventure Time's more is too real for little kids, right? But Gumball is actually just too dark for little kids. Like, messed up shit happens, and not in the like it's a very different kind of messed up shit from Adventure Time's like.
All kid shows are like that nowadays. All the good ones, anyway.
Exactly.
It's always been that way. We watched Ren and Stimpy when we were kids. Oh no.
Ren and Stimpy was not actually aimed at little kids on purpose, I don't think.
It's always been.
Also,
that way.
Ren and Stimpy was held out as an exception back then.
I mean, Looney Tunes, friggin' people blow up.
Yeah, but everything was like that back then. What
They
about
put guns in each other's faces and boom.
what about the He-Man She-Ra era of the maximum sanitization?
Listen, even today, shows that exist only to sell toys are still like that. But
Not
there
quite
aren't
to
that
that
many
degree.
anymore because there aren't any set anymore in cartoons.
But Gumball has also had a bunch of like really serious and touching episodes recently.
All right.
Yeah. So
What show doesn't have serious and touching episodes?
He-Man,
There's a very special He-Man. I'm sure we can go and find it.
there is not serious touching in He-Man at any point.
Maybe there is.
So yeah, I'm watching a ton of cartoons, but the only anime I'm watching is 2 flavors of Sailor Moon, one of which I've already seen, which is interesting to me that I'm watching for the first time in my life since I was in
High school?
No, because high school I was watching all anime. I wasn't watching any American cartoons.
Oh, I thought you meant watching Sailor Moon.
I'm watching more non-Japanese cartoons than Japanese cartoons on a daily basis. That's a big flip from the majority of my life. I mean, I was watching anime like all the time when I was in elementary school.
There are new animes come out slower than there exist to watch them.
Yeah, there's just a ton of new anime, and
Depending on where you put your bar.
I don't care about a lot of it. And whenever there's an anime I care about, it's like I've decided I'll never watch an anime I'm not super into because there's some anime that I like. Like I like Yo Pedal, but I'm not like, oh fuck, I gotta watch the next episode.
Oh fuck, I gotta watch the next episode.
But then like when Madoka came out, like I watched that whole thing literally as fast as I could.
Let's just watch it again.
Yeah, I can watch it. You want to watch it again tonight?
No, let's just watch Evangelion tonight.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop.
Nah.
Get some.
You only got so much time before you gotta work.
Yep. So yeah, that's what I'm watching.
Doot,
Do 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 do
doot,
do.
doot, 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 doot.
So things of the day. If you are a person who sings, there's like, you know, in every hobby, there's like the ridiculous bullshit that like people who are really good at that thing from a hobbyist perspective will do, like the weird trick that like a skier guy will do, or like the guy who knows how to throw the baseball, like swing the baseball bat, but he like lets go of it and has it spin in the air and then catches it again, like those kinds of tricks. This
Stupid
is
human
that.
tricks.
Yeah, but things that require a surprising and or extreme amount of skill and talent, but which are not actually useful in the professional practice of that craft. So, for most singers, polyphonic overtones are that. They're crazy hard to do, they're really interesting, almost no music in the world requires it.
Also, I never knew about this before, like a minute ago. It sounds 100% like a theremin, so there's no reason to do it if you have a theremin. It's like if you have a theremin, there is no reason to have this technique for musical purpose because and even if you wanted to make music with this sound, you don't need to hire a person who can do it. You just buy a theremin.
So, Scott, there are kinds of music that so her singing and the way it sounds was just because of what she was singing. Mongolian music also uses it, but it sounds more like deep farts.
Couldn't I just tune my fucking theremin?
No, actually.
I'm pretty sure I could take my theremin and run it through a computer and be all set.
You could not make your theremin sound like tuba music.
I could get a didgeridoo. That's pretty close.
Could you play a didgeridoo? I would give you $500 if you ever successfully play a didgeridoo in front of me.
Go buy me a tiny cheap didgeridoo.
No, you gotta buy one. But if
they cost me a lot of money.
If you ever,
I'm not profiting here.
If you ever, in the rest of the time that you and I are both alive, successfully and
I'll
properly
wait until
play,
Rim's on his last $500 in the retirement home, and then I'll just have nothing better to do. I'll practice didgeridoo all day.
Yeah, and then my last words will be Jefferson lives.
And then my last words will be.
So yeah, this is a video that actually explains in pretty deep detail what that is and how it works, like for real. And it's fascinating if you are a singer or an audio engineer.
It is fascinating and completely useless.
Yeah.
The most difficult yet useless talent I've ever seen.
So Scott, I also practice clicking on heads in video games.
That is much less difficult, than this. Otherwise, equally useless. Or actually not as useless because you can win a competition in Mad Monies if you are very good at it.
I'll bet there's competitions for polyphonic overtone singing.
I bet they make you less money if you win than the Counter-Strike
I
tournament.
can do it with humming and whistling at the same time.
We've done this on the show before.
I can also do the fifth flip.
Sure.
Yeah. But I can't do polyphonic whistling.
No.
No. Anyway, you got a thing of the day?
So, in Russia, crazy shit happens like dash cams, and
Yep.
it produces many great things of the day. It's a great place to watch on YouTube and not a great place to go. So, let us watch Russia on YouTube. Here's a crazy thing that happens. The dude's chilling out in what looks to be like a nice restaurant. And something strange is going on. There's like a lady with two dudes moving about. You can't tell what's going on, really. There's no audio. Not that we would understand the Pocknerese anyway. And then a whole bunch of dudes come in with a little bit of the ultra-violence.
Oh, I saw that FARC link to that thing. Let me see if I can find the headline they used.
Yeah. And then, something happened. I guess this continues my trend of thing of the days of badass dudes.
Yeah.
Watch and see how badass this dude is. I would probably be doing a similar thing to that dude.
Well, you know what it's
I'd like to think I would be anyway.
It's like those videos you see occasionally where like someone pulls out a gun at a bank and like tries to rob the teller, and the teller just like looks at them. They're like, "Put that away," or they just like don't react.
Yep.
They're like, "No, sir, I really need to see your
I'm
ID."
behind a bulletproof glass. What the fuck do you think you're doing?
Black the bookies.
What are you gonna do?
There was a similar.
Tyrone, you fat bastard.
There was a similar story on FARC recently along these lines. Like a similar thing happened, and there was a picture of the two perpetrators, and it was from an upward angle, and one of them was really fat. The first post in the thread was a meme of Tyrone. It was beautiful.
That's epic.
In the meta moment, the book club book is Watership Down. It's about rabbits and crazy cultist rabbits and fascist rabbits, and it's a pretty good book, and I'm really digging it.
The Animal Farm of Rabbits.
Yeah, except in Animal Farm, they're...
Rabbit Farm.
Yeah. Well, there is a rabbit farm.
Perhaps less Orwellian, though.
Read your
Literally less Orwellian.
story. In that sense.
Yes.
Watch all our stuff on YouTube?
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, I say we're on all the places on the internet. Well, whenever I find a new place on the internet to be, I go there.
Yeah, what is that thing?
So, here's the thing.
I retweeted it, but I don't know what it is.
So Facebook made an app that's currently only for iOS, but I'm sure will eventually be for other OS. And it's called Rooms. And the way it works is you can make an account with no Facebook account. You don't need to have a Facebook account for you anti-Facebook folks. And the way it works is you make a room. And a room is sort of like an IRC channel, kind of. It's like a channel. And you can invite people to the room, and if you created the room, you set the rules for the room and whatnot. And you invite people to the room, and they join the room with a barcode or by typing stuff in or whatever. They join the room. Once you're in the room, imagine an IRC chat, except instead of being an IRC chat, it's more like an Instagram feed where you can post photo or text or both, as each post is like a square that
Wait,
comes
so is
up.
this just Google Wave?
No, you're not editing things.
Okay, so we're just sharing things.
Right. It's imagine if there's an IRC chat room, but instead of lines of text in each post was a square that could contain text or a photo like Instagram.
Ah.
And you can just make as many of these as you want and have people join them. They can be moderated or free or, whoever made it controls it, right? So it's pretty interesting. So I made a Geeknights one. And I put stuff in it, even though like the 5 people who are in it aren't paying attention and probably deleted the app already.
Nah.
But, I'm just going to stick with it because it's the only way to make it work.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I'm sticking with every single internet outlet that we have, full on.
Yep. In fact, our IRC's actually been slightly rocking lately.
I got an IRC client for my phone. So if you have iOS and you're wondering which IRC client should I get on my phone, there's one that costs money called Palaver. That is the best one. Pay money for it if you want to use IRC on your mobile iOS devices.
Duly noted.
If you're not using iOS, I can't help you.
So long ago, there was the Bee and Puppycat 2-episode thing, the pilot, the cute thing that surprisingly many of our friends, every time people came over, were like, blah, 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 Bee and Puppycat, and they didn't know what it was. Then we showed it to them.
Well, people, people aren't necessarily subscribed to Channel Frederator / Cartoon Hangover on YouTube, not watching everything. They put out a lot of pilots for different things on there.
Yup.
Single episodes of various animations.
Some good, some meh.
Yeah, but the Bee and Puppycat one was particularly interesting because it had some hints of adventure time, had some good voice acting and quality dialogues. The puppy cat has a Vocaloid voice, which gave it props.
Don't tell me what to do.
Right. And it was generally pretty interesting. So that one got a Kickstarter to make for real episodes like Bravest Warriors has.
Yep. So this was like one of the first really solid examples of a new way to make media.
Make a bunch of free one-shots, and when people figure out which one's a hit, and then make it for reals.
But again, the crowdsourcing of people paid just so that the thing would exist, and once enough money existed for the thing to exist, then everyone gets it. And you don't even have to worry about piracy.
No, it's
'Cause it's just gonna be free.
100% free because we paid for it to be made, and the people who made it took some of that money to live with, and they used the other money for computers and whatnot that they needed to make it, softwares, and they did it.
So I got to see the first 3 episodes at a advanced
Whoa, I've only
screening.
seen 2 episodes.
Yeah.
What's that third episode you saw?
Beach episode?
What?
Yeah, it's
What?
yeah. So, Bee and Puppycat, what's out now? There's going to be a bunch of episodes, and now that Scott's seen it too, and you've all seen it, we can actually kind of review.
I only saw the pilot and 2 episode.
Yeah,
because that's what they put out to start.
Yeah, so you've seen 2 episodes of the actual season, I guess.
The real
I've
deal.
seen 3.
I forget the characters' names except for Bee and Puppycat.
Deckard.
Yeah, that's him.
How could you forget Deckard?
I just know that he's a dude. He's the dude. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, no one else's names I think matter.
What's the intelligent girl's name?
Oh, the sister?
Yeah.
I already forgot her name.
Okay.
She might be the best actual character though, other than
yes, that's the kind of character I like. Sane person with no drama or any fucked up problems.
well, also known as the straight man.
Yes.
However,
Quality human being.
I also like she is the fertilizer. That guy.
Yeah, well,
that guy is my kind of reminds
he's
me a
just
lot
the
of
bad guy.
Hey there.
Yeah. Puppycat is also sort of the straight man in a way. The straight animal.
So
it's a lot like the cat from Sailor Moon.
The new Bee and Puppycat is substantially different from the pilot, as all shows are from the pilot.
Yes.
And you know what? I think it's a change for the better.
Well,
it's
I mean,
different.
if it was all like the pilot, it would just be too much, right? It'd be full power all the time with crazy stuff like, candy's gone.
It took
it's
too long.
Right. It's that's a great line. Never going to lose that one. But if the whole thing was like that, it would just become tiresome, coming on too strong.
Yep. So the new Bee and Puppycat basically it zoomed out a little bit so you see more of the world and has actual character and
besides
plot and stuff.
Yeah, so that way, because how far could you get with just Bee and Puppycat?
Yeah, it gives you, there is a point of reference as opposed to literally no point of reference.
Yep.
I really like it, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to watch all the episodes that come out.
I'm glad that the primary thing they kept is Bee's personality as experienced through the voice acting.
Right, but then they sort of, it's not just who is this crazy person. It's this person is actually crazy.
Yeah.
And the friends are concerned about that, and it's a problem.
You know what? I think Bee is what will happen to Nana. Remember Nana? If she doesn't get her shit together. Eventually she's just going to be like this.
Right. Well, I think, you look at something like Adventure Time, right? And you got Finn, and to a lesser extent Jake, being sort of immature, crazily, but also mature at the same time. They take care of themselves in their house. They can get shit done when they have to.
Yep.
It's they can alternate between, having wacky dialogues and being seemingly, complete children going, but also just being adults and taking care of their shit. Right?
Well,
they got both things going on at the same time.
Moving more toward adults as the show gets more and more adult and serious.
Obviously,
but yeah.
But Bee, on the other hand, right, seems to less adult. There's some amount of adultness there and ability to realize to do something and do something.
Bee is the kind of person who, as a child, ate that marshmallow immediately.
Right. But mostly it's okay, your incredible silliness being a cartoon character is actually a problem in this adult world. It's not so good. And we're going to have to fix that over the course of these episodes to some extent.
Or maybe not, and that's going to be what this is.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like how they took her core essence, and it's like in Utena as an example, because we've been doing a lot of stuff with Utena lately. Crazy anime crap happens in that show, but then the show stops. You're just like, yo, dog, all that crazy crap happened. Why did you just accept that crazy crap was happening just because it was a cartoon? Yeah. But then, like He-Man, like crazy cartoon crap happened just because crazy cartoon crap happens.
Yeah, because the cartoon.
That literally never. The fact that backgrounds were repeating and looping was not a commentary on the existential nature of man.
Nope.
In He-Man.
Nope.
But in Utena, a looping background is like,
how did that background loop? I mean, it's a cartoon, sure, but if you pretend that these are real people, how was there a looping background?
And we'll talk about the looping background when we talk about episode 39 of Shoujo Kakame Utena in our series, Geeknights Presents Shoujo Kakame Utena.
You should probably watch that. We're going to continue it sometime soon.
Oh my god, well, now that I got those Blu-rays, yeah, you can see the individual defects of brush lines on the cells if you zoom in.
All right, well, let's talk about more bees and cats. So Puppycat is a puppy and a cat, sort of this weird in-between character. Obviously created to sell merchandise, much like Catbug.
Yep.
But I like Catbug better. Catbug actually says funny things, whereas Puppycat has a cool Vocaloid voice, which is awesome, but it doesn't really, because of that inability to really talk. It sort of.
I think it's partly
because it doesn't
because
have catchphrases, or you can't really impersonate it. Besides going like,
don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So I think it's that with Catbug is an earnest little kid, and it's kind of like that scene where Catbug killed that jelly kid, whatever. Spoilers. And then, he's like, I don't see what the big deal is. There's cool stuff going on with that kind of earnest child character that's also kind of this animal predator thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Puppycat's actually just acts and doesn't look, but acts like an adult.
Yeah, it's an intelligent adult person.
It's like, I need these weapons.
Who just happens to be in this body and is trying to get the job done.
Yup. Is it just me? Or was there because two other people said this to me, and I agree with them, that in the first 2 episodes of the new Bee and Puppycat, there is a direct romantic subtext between Bee and Puppycat. There are 2 indirect kisses.
A tiny bit.
She steals the gum back out of his mouth.
Yeah. But I mean, it's sort of one of those things where it's like a,
And then in the dream with the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's there. So that's there. It's not just me.
Is Puppycat symbolizing another person, going to literally transform into another person, or?
Well, Puppycat is obviously that prince.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Trapped in the body of a puppy cat.
Yep. That sucks for the dude character guy.
Yeah, well, he needs to move on with his life, according to the plot so far.
Yeah. So the deal with that dude who wasn't in the pilot is he's sort of taking care of Bee because someone like that needs taken care of.
You get the impression that she would starve to death locked in her apartment if he wasn't, watching out for her.
Right. And he can cook and do adult things, but at the same time, he's basically neglecting his own life. He's awesome at cooking and should go to cooking school, apparently. But instead, he's taking care of this person he's not even related to.
That cooking school, I'm pretty sure, is exactly like Ouran High School Host Club.
I'm pretty sure
that's how I imagine that is. Also,
Otori Cooking Academy.
Also, he has heterochromia, and that's definitely on purpose.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the girl who is basically just the sane person. I forget her name.
Yep. Well,
she's pretty much just telling him hey, you should go to cooking school. Don't take care of this girl person.
Yep.
Your whole life. That's not your problem.
But it's definitely, this show is very much a bunch of internet mashed together on top of a thin but workable plot thread.
Yeah.
You just take a bunch of strong characters, dump a ton of internet around them, and then I think just kind of wing it in terms of the writing from that.
Yeah. The only thing is, it's sort of, so each episode there's a real world conflict of some kind, and then Bee goes to fight solve some sci-fi problem somewhere in this other dimension or some shit, and then that somehow symbolizes resolving the problem that's happening in the real world.
I thought of that, except notice how she doesn't actually resolve really any of her problems in the real world.
It's very strange.
So if you take this at face value, Bee is a mentally challenged person with problems who like she visits this guy, goes into his bathroom, passes out and has a fever dream, and then wakes up at night and leaves.
Yep.
She's escaping the world and not actually solving her real world problems. Escapism is the actual problem.
Now the thing is that other dimension problem solving mission heroism thing that's going on, is that literal or is that just in her head? Is like,
or is it just going to be internet and that's not the part that matters?
yeah, is like the puppy cat something that like, does anyone even see the puppy cat besides her?
Well, we know Deckard sees it.
Okay, does
Deckard
hear it talking?
She holds it up and she's like, smell it, but no one hears him talking.
Mm.
Only she hears him talk, and he is definitely a cat with dog smell. So if we're gonna analyze this shit,
It could just be a cat with dog smell.
that doesn't exist. There's no cat with dog smell. Persistent dog smell in a cat could not happen.
A cat-shaped dog.
Also, even like he's weird looking, and he went and got all those weapons. They tried to buy all those weapons because they did buy the brass knuckles anyway.
Right.
Maybe it could be Fight Club.
It could be Fight Club.
Do we need to do Geeknights Presents Bee and Puppycat?
Is it Bee Club or Fight Cat?
I feel like we could actually do that for this show.
Fight Cat.
I would watch a show called Fight Cat.
Let's make it. There's a cat, and then ding, 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 and it fights for serious. Like,
do.
you know those sort of like, it'll be like cute cat, like, with boxing gloves, like, right?
Mhm.
And then you get that zoom in on the face. You get the Fist of the North Star kind of face, like, that's the cat face. And then the opponent is like a dog. It's like, woof, woof, woof. And then, so you just take a Hajime Ippo script and just reanimate it with animals.
So in the third episode, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's another character that
Whoa, spoilers.
It's one of those characters.
I don't care. Tell me everything.
It's a character that does not fit in the world in the same way that Detective Conan being in an anime that's not Detective Conan as a cameo is always really weird.
So just like Princess Bubblegum.
Basically,
like,
her landlord is an actual child.
Oh.
Like this little kid.
All right.
And there's
it's not just a small person?
It's definitely a child.
Mm-hmm.
But
is it just the landlord's child?
That is not the implication.
Is it like a child king of like a weird tiny country?
Now, it is possible still that Bee is just crazy and that's just a neighbor kid and she thinks he's the landlord. So I guess I could still read into it that way. But
how did she ever pay the rent? Like, how did she even pay the first rent? How did she even get the apartment in the first place?
Because her mom's actually like dead in the other room and Social Security checks just keep coming into an automated account and like the show's going to go real dark real quick. Remember, when I was at that screening, Natasha herself did a Q&A and when someone asked her what she does as a hobby, she basically said something along the lines of, yeah, I read that Wikipedia article on like the strangest deaths that have ever occurred in history to humans.
Mm-hmm.
And then like that became the topic of conversation for a while. So I would not put it past her for that to be the plot.
Sure.
But notice how the show is very atmospheric in that music and background noise, like it'll have a very slow, fuzzy, dreamlike atmosphere all the time. It's more atmospheric than it is.
The other
plotty.
dimension is the real thing. This is the dream, the thing that looks like our real world. She actually woke up in that bathroom. She didn't go to sleep in it
because she moved from an apartment to a house like the setting changed between the pilot and the real show. You could argue that the fighting monsters temp job world is more consistent than the quote-unquote real world.
Is the pilot even canon?
I'm going to tweet at her and ask her if the pilot is canon tonight. We'll see, because I asked, I got the official answer that the My Little Pony comic is canon.
Sure.
From the author of the comic. Like, that shit's legit, as far as I'm concerned. But the third episode is way atmospheric.
Okay.
When they go to the beach.
The beach.
There's also a crabby guy. That crabby
I can
guy.
imagine Puppycat in some sort of like floating device.
The crab
in the water.
Yeah, I think you're gonna like the crabby guy's aesthetic.
I mean, you already have a beach and a crabby. That it doesn't really, you're already hitting on all cylinders there.
Yeah. Well, I guess when you watch the episode,
do they eat crab?
How they get to the beach?
You didn't answer me if they ate crab.
I had to.
You had to. What happened did they have?
So how they get to the beach actually reinforces your possible idea that the real world of Bee and Puppycat is the dream.
They use the dimension thingy. They go to sleep and they wake up as the beach.
They wander there by accident.
All right.
You'll see. It'll be out soon, I assume. I mean, it's done. So,
Mm.
But yeah, Bee and Puppycat, shows like this, like short pilots of animation and short Kickstarter-y shows. If you care about this stuff at all, like any animation or TV, the investment you have to put in to consume this media
Go to YouTube, click on a thing, and sit there for like 5-10 minutes.
is so low. Dameka Dobutsu requires more investment than this show does.
Yeah, it has all these long openers and closes in Damaka
Yeah.
so you have to fast forward through.
I watched the code of the RIT Anime Club. You never fast forward through shit. We watch the opener and the closer to Risky Safety, N times, N being the number of episodes.
If you haven't seen Risky Safety, and especially if you haven't seen Damaka you should watch Damaka
Should we bring that panel back for Anime Boston?
We got any better ideas?
Let's do it. See you guys at Anime Boston. By the way,
there are some new ones.
Anime Boston submission panel stuff is open. So, yeah.
PAX South that keeps extending. It's
The new deadline for PAX South, unless they change it again, is today. So, if you want to submit a panel to PAX South, it looks like they need more panel
a little
submissions.
sparse schedule, maybe.
Yeah.
PAX South.
We'll see if we go back to the old days, because we used to do at PAX East one time. We did 3, so I did 3 at PAX Australia. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
Inshallah